Hello and welcome to another edition of Spartan Center here on LCAT. I'm Colin Casey, joined by Matt Rotalakis and Patrick Varhue. We begin this week with the NFL. The New York Giants, for the second time this season, have defeated the Dallas Cowboys. Giants, the only team that have beaten the Cowboys this season. However, it was a 10-7 final. Both quarterbacks played very poorly, as they have the past couple of games. Guys, are there any concerns about the play of both Dak Prescott and Eli Manning?
I think it's kind of been a season-long concern about Eli because I think he had such a strong year last year, and he's kind of reverted to the form that he had for the couple years prior this season. So I think there's definitely some cause for concern there, but at the end of the day, he's got a proven pedigree of winning when it counts, especially in the playoffs. So I don't think you should worry too much about him.
And Pat, like Matt mentioned, it's been a problem the entire season. Dak Prescott, he's got some leeway because he's a rookie, but you got to admit Eli's not himself this year.
No, Eli. Well, maybe last year Eli wasn't himself, and this year Eli's playing like he had every other season. Well, not every other season, but the seasons prior to last year. I think Eli.
Like the 2 seasons where he won Super Bowls?
Yep, just like those seasons, Colin.
Oh, okay.
I think he's not doing horribly. I just don't think he's doing great.
Yeah, I mean, he's 14th in the league in passing yards, which is like it's middle of the road, but it's other stats that are problems. Like kind of like his completion percentage isn't that great. Neither is his quarterback rating, passer rating, and stuff like that. And you see on the field that some of the turnovers that he's made have been awful.
The fumbles last week.
Absolutely.
Terrible.
And Dak, he's been so impressive that I don't think it should be that much of a worry. And I don't think there's any reason to play Tony Romo next week. What are your thoughts on that, of Jerry Jones talking about Tony Romo?
I wouldn't play Tony, definitely not. I think they're, 11-2?
Yep.
There's a reason for that. I'm not changing anything now.
Both their losses to one-possession games.
Exactly.
I'd only put in Tony Romo if they start losing to teams they really shouldn't be losing to, like, continuously. Maybe if they lose their last 3 games of the season and it looks bad, then start Tony in the playoffs. But right now, I think it's easy.
Yeah, I think
Dak's
you
the starting
should
quarterback.
definitely ride with Dak Prescott. The Miami Dolphins this week, huge win, keeping them in a good spot for a postseason appearance. However, they lose their quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, due to a knee injury. Matt Moore coming in, he ended up helping them get the win over the Cardinals. Matt, we'll start with you, the Dolphins fan that you are. Do you think Matt Moore can step up and lead this team to the playoffs?
I think he can. I mean, this is going to be the first game he started in like 5 seasons, I think, since Tannehill entered the league, because I don't think he's missed a start. So yeah, it's obviously been a while for Moore, but in general, he's regarded as one of the better backups in the league.
13-12 as a starter.
Yeah, which is pretty good. Pretty good. Most backups can't claim something like that. So I think he's got the ability. It's just a matter of whether or not he can do it. And against the Jets, hopefully he should be able to.
And he's got the help. He's got the running back that he needs, Jay Ajayi. He's got some talented receivers with Jarvis Landry. And then, of course, their defense has played great all season. Pat, do you think that Matt Moore can step up in this situation?
See, I don't think it's not like he has to do it all himself. It wasn't like Ryan Tannehill was like the quarterback leading the team. It's like they have a great running game, the Jay Ajayi, they got a good defense. So it's not like Matt Moore needs to do it all himself. As long as he doesn't do poorly, if he can just play average, then they should be able to win.
agree.
So you think more pressure is actually on the defense to continue their good play?
Yeah, and Jay Ajayi to continue rushing well.
Okay. And we look at the AFC South, just an abomination of a division, to be honest.
It's pretty bad.
A couple teams above the Titans and the Texans above 500 by 1 game, and they are tied for the division lead. However, the Colts still in it as well. Who do you think will win that division?
I'm taking the Titans. Your boy Mariota, he's playing pretty well. He's definitely had a good stretch lately, and I can't see myself ever picking Brock Osweiler at this point. So.
What a waste
Titans.
of a contract, honestly. I don't understand why they signed him for that long and that much amount of money. And I'm going to go with Titans as well. Strength of schedule is a huge key factor in this. The Titans have the Chiefs, but then they got a couple division games after where they're the favorites in it, and I think they'll come away on top of that division. Pat?
Yeah, I'm going to also go with the Titans. I do like the Colts. I think the Colts will end up finishing above the Texans. Or actually, I think they'll both end up at 8-8. I think Colts will go 2-1 and end off. Titans will go 2-1, but the Texans go 1-2. So Titans will have a game over the other two, and none of them are getting a wild card.
Just a side note: the other team in the AFC South. What a disappointing year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. 2 wins this season. A lot of people expected them to make the jump that the Raiders made this year, but that clearly is not the case.
Just big time regression from Blake Bortles after having a really good year last year. Just looking like he forgot how to play football this year.
It's pretty hard to see. At this point now, in terms of the entire league, who do you think? Who are the favorites for the AFC and the NFC?
From the NFC, I think the favorite at this point is the Cowboys, and the AFC, the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots just speaks for itself. I mean, they're great every season. Tom Brady's back behind center. Really nothing to worry about there. Cowboys, a little bit shaky recently from Dak, but he's been great for almost the entire season, and they still have Zeke, and they have a pretty solid defense, so not much to worry about there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Patriots are going to obviously be the favorites in the AFC, as they basically have in the past 15 years, other than the year that Brady was out. And in the NFC, I'm going to stick with the Cowboys. I mean, 2 losses to the Giants this year, but there's a good chance they could win out, although I wouldn't be surprised if the Redskins maybe upset the Cowboys. Kirk Cousins played really well against Cowboys the week they played him. I think it was Thanksgiving, right? Yep. Cousins looked great in that game. I think that they have a chance there, and the Cowboys clearly aren't invincible, as the Giants have proven. Pat, who do you think is going to be who are the favorites right now?
NFC, I definitely think it's the Cowboys. I don't think any of the teams playing them the rest of the way are going to win because they're done with the Giants, they're done with the Redskins, and the Eagles aren't going to beat them. And then I look at the NFC or the AFC, and I think obviously the Patriots are the favorites, but I would not overlook the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs' defense is better than the Patriots' defense considerably.
For sure.
I think they can stop Tom Brady, and their offense not good, but not horrible. I mean, you can get a good running game from Spencer Ware if Jamal Charles comes back and Alex Smith manages the game well. Then I think the Chiefs could probably upset the Patriots.
Also, which conference do you think was better this year, the NFC or the AFC? Which conference do you think is stronger in terms of playoff teams?
I'd say the AFC because you have the Patriots, you have the Raiders, you have the Chiefs, you have the Broncos. A lot of good teams. You got a lot of bubble teams like the Dolphins, the Bills, teams like that. The NFC is really just a one-horse race at this point.
Pat?
Yeah, I'd definitely say the AFC. I think the NFC was more surprising to me. The NFC East, I didn't think all these teams would be great.
Tampa Bay, no one expected them to be right in the mix. Falcons, no one expected either of those teams to be the top 2 in the division. They probably expected the Panthers and the Saints to be leading that division. And then, of course, the Giants have made a jump. I don't think anyone expected. Oh, let's be honest. Should they really be 9-4? Some of these games,
it's a little questionable.
Yeah, definitely. And then Minnesota's barely in it, but they looked good to start the season. So did the Eagles. And
just a lot of regression overall in the NFC with the Panthers and the Cardinals.
Yep.
A lot of teams that fell short of expectations, really.
Definitely. We move on to picks now. We'll start with the Giants. They host the Detroit Lions this week. The Lions right now the 2 seed in the NFC. Who do you guys have?
Taking New York at home. I like New York a lot. I feel like I say this every week when I pick them. I feel like they're just a really talented team. And, I mean, they beat the Cowboys twice, which is pretty impressive. Even if, the games, maybe you could say they're a little fluky, but at the end of the day, win's a win. So I think they have enough to take down Stafford and the Lions.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I think Matt Stafford's great. I think it's going to be a close game, either way you look at it. But
every single Giants game's been close this year.
That's true.
So it's a fair prediction.
It just seems like they always somehow, at the end of the game, win, even though they shouldn't.
Yeah.
They don't play a better game, they just win.
Sometimes they have, against the Cowboys, they did play the better game this week, but Eli almost gave it away in the end. There's a couple games they have been, but yeah, there's definitely games that have been outplayed and they somehow won. Same with the Lions, if you think about it. They've had 8 games where they've they've trailed in the fourth quarter and come behind to steal one. I'm going to go with the Giants. Their defense looked fantastic last week. Eric Flowers shouldn't be still on this team. I just want to make a point of that. Their offensive lines, the bad play of the offensive line is moved over towards bad play of Eli Manning, I think. If he had a little more time to throw the ball, maybe it'd be better. But again, some of the throws Eli has made over the season have been questionable. He's got a talented group of receivers. He needs to take advantage of that. Hopefully he does when the Giants make the playoffs. I think they're in a good spot right now, and I think they will be in a better spot if they beat the Lions this week. The Tennessee Titans, a team in the AFC South competing for a playoff spot, against the Chiefs, who are basically going to the playoffs.
Yeah, Kansas City in this one, like Pat said, great defense and definitely a doable offense. It's not the best, but it should be able to put up enough points to beat the majority of the teams in the NFL. And the good thing about the Chiefs is that their defense scores. They got guys like Marcus Peters and Eric Berry who get a lot of interceptions, a lot of fumble recoveries, and they're capable of taking them back, or at least giving them really good field position.
As great as I think Marcus Mariota's been lately, I still think the Chiefs' defense is very good, and they can stop Mariota easily. Just call him Mariota, then Mariota. Who really knows?
Not me.
Yeah. But yeah, Kansas City in Kansas City. I think they are trying to win the division over the Raiders, and I think they will. And I think they will be the 2 seed, and I think they're going to beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship game.
Wow.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs as well. I think Tennessee's taken that progression that was expected from the Jaguars. I don't think a lot of people expected Tennessee to be competing for a division at this point in the season. But the Chiefs are just way too talented on defense, and they've got one of the best secondaries in the league, and I think that's the reason why they're going to win this game. Division game, AFC West, the Raiders head to San Diego to take on the Chargers. A couple of teams that might not be in their respective cities when next year comes around.
Chargers are a pretty good team. I think that they're slightly better than the record has shown so far, but at this point, the Raiders are probably the second or third best team in the AFC, so I think that they win this one easily.
I'm actually going to give this one to San Diego. I'm calling an upset.
All right.
I don't think
There you
Oakland's.
go.
I don't think Oakland's looked pretty good lately. They've definitely
Very bad week last week against the
definitely
Chiefs.
slowed
Definitely bad
down
week.
from when Derek Carr threw for over 500 yards.
Something like that.
Yeah, they've slowed down. Just not looking great. Their defense is pretty good, pretty decent, average. Offense obviously better, but San Diego is just a team that seems like they pull off upsets once in a while. Phillip Rivers is a pretty good quarterback.
I'd be interested to see how good this AFC West division is already great, but the Chargers have been plagued with injuries. If they weren't injured, I wonder where they would be at this point. All 4 teams would somehow be above 500, at least at 500 at this point in the season. I'm going to go with Oakland. I think they're going to rebound from last week. That was definitely a tough game for Derek Carr. I think he's going to be a lot better this week and find his receivers like Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree. He's definitely got talented guys around him, and I think he's going to recover just fine. New England heads to Sports Authority Field to take on the Denver Broncos. What?
I like the Sports Authority Field.
Okay.
That was nice. It was new.
Yeah.
I like it.
But who do you think is going to win the game?
I got New England. Denver's a great defense, obviously, and their offense is pretty decent, fairly average. I just think that Tom Brady rises to the occasion in games like these, games against rivals, which Denver's been a rival team for them for the last couple of seasons. And going to Denver, I think he's going to step it up. I think he's going to have a huge game.
Yeah, I think it's easy New England. I don't think Denver's that good. Trevor Siemian has done nothing to impress me so far. I used to call him average. I'm starting to think he's a bit subpar.
Oh, wow.
Paxton Lynch should be the starting quarterback. Is he? I don't think he is.
No.
It's Siemian, right?
He came in. He started a week ago
Yeah.
because Simeon was out with an
Yeah.
injury. But
Like,
I'd probably go with him.
I'd go with
I
Paxton
think
Lynch.
I'd use Simeon at this point because he's been the starter for pretty much the entire season. And there's still like a few games above 500 contending for a playoff
There's been
spot.
success.
You
yeah.
really don't want to just throw a rookie into the fire like that.
I think they need a little spark right now to get into the playoffs, and they're not going to get that from Trevor Siemian.
Probably not, but I don't really know if they need a spark at this point. I think they're
Right now, what? They're behind the Dolphins of the 6th seed, right?
No, it's
think
well. Actually, I don't know. Is it now? I think they are now because the Ravens lost.
thanks to the Patriots, by the way.
Yep.
But the Ravens are first in the division, right?
Are they?
Yeah, I think they're tied with the Steelers, and right now they have the tiebreaker.
Okay, then the Steelers would be the 6th seed. I think is what it is right now.
Yeah.
I think they have the Ravens or the Steelers and the Dolphins have the same record, but the Steelers own the tiebreaker.
Okay, so first I think Dolphins are better than Denver. I think the Steelers are better than Denver. I think Baltimore's better than Denver. So I think they need some kind of spark. That's why I'd go with Paxton Lynch, but easily New England, no doubt.
I'm going with the Denver Broncos in this game.
There
Going
it is.
going with the upset.
He's the crazy one.
Yeah.
And my reasoning is Tom Brady has really struggled in Denver throughout his career. He is Tom Brady, but he's going up against a great defense. And if there's one game for them to lose the rest of the way, I think it would be this one. I mean, you'd definitely make a case for the Dolphins as well.
Yeah, but look at his
Matt
Super
Moore.
Bowls.
Yeah.
Look at his Super Bowls.
All right, come on. Come on.
But yeah, I'm gonna go Denver. But I mean, there's not a ton of confidence behind this pick, considering it's really hard to pick against the Patriots. Tampa Bay heads to Dallas Sunday night. This game was flexed in. I remember there's some other Sunday night game, and I think it was terrible.
But nobody cares about it, so
Yeah.
switch that up.
But this game looks great considering how great the Bucks have been playing lately. Could pull off an upset. Do you think they will?
I don't think they will. I'm going Dallas. I like Ezekiel Elliott. They definitely have the best O-line in the NFL. I think most people would agree with that. And you got a great running back going behind it, so he'll probably have a big game. Because Tampa doesn't have a great defense. They've played pretty well recently.
As hot as Tampa Bay has been recently, I think it's Dallas all the way. Yep.
I actually just changed my pick. I was
did?
going with Tampa Bay. I'm like, I already picked one.
I kind of wish you would go Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, I already picked one upset. I
a couple
feel
of
like.
big wins in a row.
Yeah.
Why not?
But Dallas, I think Ezekiel Elliott's he's got to be like He's top 2 running back in the league, if not the best, and that's amazing because he's a rookie. Dak, I don't think he's going to pass for less than 203 straight weeks, and I think they're going to squeak one out against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Monday night game, Carolina at Washington. Redskins still right in the thick of things for a playoff spot. Pat, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Washington. They
Seems a little bored. Wow.
I just okay.
Long day.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Washington's just a better team, even though they haven't done anything to impress me the past 2 weeks. I mean, they barely beat the Eagles. That's pathetic. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, but he needs to get back to how he was playing a couple of weeks ago, not like he has against Arizona and the Eagles. And Trent Williams is back, so that's the big news. Trent Williams needs to rock and rumble, make sure that O-line stays together, and their defense needs to not blow it.
Do you think, with the offseason coming up, they have Garcon as free agent, they have Deshaun Jackson as free agent. What are your thoughts on, do you think they should sign both of them?
Deshaun, I think, no. I think I would,
Neither of them?
no. Well, you need one of them, but Jackson's going to go back to
What
the
about
Eagles.
Doxson? Josh Doxson?
Yeah, he's on injured reserve, right?
Yeah.
I know, but like next season, do you think he's going to make a jump?
If he's healthy, yeah, I think he can stay, but they're going to need another receiver. I don't trust Jamison Crowder and Josh Doxson to be my 2
Yeah, I
leading
agree. I'd probably bring
receivers.
back Jackson if I was them.
Yeah, I don't. He's injured too often. Like, you can't go like 5 weeks without the guy being healthy. Plus, talking to the media, you already know he wants to go back to Philadelphia. It's just how it's been going the past couple weeks.
Maybe they'll have to look through the draft or
Free agency.
another free agent.
Yeah. And I'm going to go with the Redskins in this game. The Panthers have just been awful this year. And Kirk Cousins has played really well lately, and I'm going to go with the Redskins for that reason. Matt?
I also took Washington. You know, Captain Kirk's on fire. In Washington, prime time.
Right now, the fire's like going out.
He
so
was on fire.
He needs to like
Washington.
Moderate fire.
Prime
toss in
time.
some more wood, toss in some more
You're gonna
paper.
hit me. Skin's gonna win, baby. Let's go.
We're going to move to the NBA now. The Boston Celtics, they've lost their past 2, but in one of those losses against the Oklahoma City Thunder, they ended Russell Westbrook's historic triple-double streak. And Russ is saying how he doesn't really care about the triple-doubles. Do you believe him?
I believe him. I think that he's one of the fiercest competitors in the NBA today, and one of the fiercest we've seen in a long time. And I think that when KD left, it really sparked a fire in him. And I think that his number one mission right now is just trying to win the Western Conference. Probably won't. I think they're like middle of the like
fourth or something
seed,
like
I
that.
think.
Yeah.
So like right in the middle of the playoff picture. So I do think they'll make the playoffs. I don't think they'll knock off Golden State, but wouldn't put it past Russ. But I think he's extremely determined right now to do that, and I think that's why he's putting up these triple doubles.
Imagine if he got hurt. Their season would be over.
It would be.
Yep.
That would just be wild.
I'm not
Let me
sure
tell
who
you
their
that.
backup point guard is, but it would.
Campaign.
Oh yeah, Cameron Payne. I mean, I think he's a second, third-year player, or
Second,
something
I
like
think.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would not be good for the Thunder. I'm also going to say he doesn't really care. If you asked me this question maybe 2-3 years ago, I think he would. But I think Russell Westbrook's really matured as a player. He's a guy now who doesn't care about scoring and stuff like that. I mean, he used to be such a volume shooter. He still
He
kind
really
of
was.
is.
He still shoots a lot, but he's relied on as the primary scoring option on that team, so he really has to.
And he's doing a great job sharing the rock, and I think he's just become a better player and a better man off the court. And
I agree.
I think with that being said, he doesn't really care about this streak. Raptors and Cavs, they are neck and neck in the top of the Eastern Conference. The Raptors probably a little surprising that they're that close to the Cavs at this point in the season. Do you think they are a threat to the Cleveland Cavaliers?
I wouldn't say they're a big threat. I would still take the Cavs over them in a 7-game series, but I think that they're more of a threat than people would have thought at the beginning of the season. They have 3 great players at the top, with probably maybe the East's best backcourt in Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, and then you pair them with Jonas Valanciunas down low, and they have a great bench too. I think this is a pretty solid team, and I think they're maybe 1 or 2 pieces away from really having a good chance of knocking off Cleveland.
Pat, your
Yeah,
thoughts?
I'm definitely going Cleveland. I believe in Kyrie and LeBron and Kevin Love is kind of
Kevin Love's
All
been-
4 of the
Yeah, he's
players you
useless.
can name on the team.
Oh, if you want to go through it
If you
again.
remember that episode, that was my favorite one.
Love's
honestly.
been great this year, though.
He has been great. I think he's putting up like 20, 21, and like 13, I think.
Yeah, and
Some great numbers.
he's kind of returned to the guy that he was in Minnesota. And, of course, DeMar DeRozan's made a great jump this year for the Raptors, and you can see it in their record. Unfortunately, LeBron James is LeBron James, and it's almost impossible to hang with a team that has LeBron James on it. He's going to be a top 5 player all the time when it's all
sure.
said and done. And I wouldn't be surprised if he won a ring this year, because I think the Cavs are a legitimate threat for the Warriors.
I agree.
and LeBron James is definitely a man on a mission. We head to out west now for the Lakers, who have lost 8 in a row after a very good start to the season. Luke Walton appeared to have a good relation with his players, and he got really mad at them last night after a tough loss to the Brooklyn Nets. Do you think they overperformed during that or prior to the skid?
Yeah, I think they did. They're an extremely young team. I think that maybe they weren't really pacing themselves. They went all out from the beginning of the season, which you really can't do in the NBA if you're looking to make a run. But I think they were missing D'Angelo Russell for some of that time, but at the end of the day, they shouldn't be losing 8 in a row because of that. And he has come back, and they're still losing. So I think they were definitely overperforming before, but still a young team on the rise with a lot of talent.
Yeah, this was something I'm going to say. If I can't name more than one player on your team, then you're not good. And the only person
you name?
To Russell, D'Angelo Russell. He's the only one on the Lakers I can name.
Really? That's it?
Brandon Ingram this year.
Oh yeah, I could have named him. I wasn't thinking.
Julius Randle?
I've heard
Larry
of him,
Nance,
but I wouldn't. I'm not gonna think of these people.
Really?
If you told me asked me what team they were on, I could tell you, but I'm not just gonna think of it off the top of my head. Now, for that reason, I don't think the Lakers are good.
All right.
So therefore, yes,
I'm going to
they
call
were overperforming.
this point in the season. I know there's still a lot of season left, but this has to be rock bottom for the Lakers, considering they lost to the Brooklyn Nets.
Which I'm kind of happy about, kind of upset about because, hate the Lakers, obviously. But still, I need that Brooklyn pick to be good.
Right.
So.
But this team does have a lot of potential. You got a lot of raw young talent. You got Brandon Ingram. You said he was injured, correct? He's coming back.
Russell was injured.
Oh, Russell was injured. My apologies. But Russell coming back also just got drafted last year, back-to-back second overall picks. I think they're going to become a dynamic duo over the next couple of years once they get more and more accustomed to each other. And I think the Lakers will eventually make the jump to like a fringe playoff team as soon as next year. This year, definitely not. Next year, maybe. The MLB was what we'll finish with. The winners and the losers of the winter meetings. What are your guys' thoughts?
Winners, I picked the Red Sox and the White Sox. Red Sox picked up Chris Sale, huge acquisition, and also Tyler Thornburg, which is a big bullpen arm, which they needed for sure, especially if they aren't going to bring back Brad Ziegler. And they lost Koji to the Cubs. So I think that those were 2 moves that probably needed to be made if they're really serious about winning now and for the next couple of seasons. And the White Sox obviously got a ton back for Sale, Moncada, Kopech, Basabe, and I think his name is Victor Diaz.
I'm just going to do this real quick. Chris Sale is in Boston, everybody. It is exciting. It is very exciting time.
It's really exciting.
That was kind of weird.
I picked, the White Sox got a great return on him, but it was pretty much exactly what Then they ended up getting this is really weird. The Nationals were also went on sale, and they ended up giving the White Sox basically what they would have given for Sale for Adam Eaton. So the White Sox made out like bandits. I mean, Lucas Giolito and Victor Robles, that's 2 top 10 prospects in the MLB right there.
Reminds me of the Yankees
Incredible
during the
package.
trade deadline.
Even better,
Yeah.
way better, honestly.
Yep.
The amount of talent they accumulated in about 2 days was incredible.
Yeah, definitely go with the Red Sox, White Sox, the winners of the meeting. I think the big win for the White Sox is the Adam Eaton deal, even more so than Sale. I mean,
it's pretty much equivalent packages, and Sale's much better on it.
Yeah, like Sale's an actual loss. Adam Eaton's like a.
Well, I think you can't understate Adam Eaton because he's a good top of the order hitter. He's got some pop. He's a good contact hitter. He was a fantastic defender in right field last year. A lot of people thought that he should have won the Gold Glove over Mookie Betts. But moving back to center could hurt his value a little bit. But I still think he's a well above average outfielder on a pretty cheap contract for the next few years, but I still don't think he justifies giving up all that.
It's not as good as a Chris Sale contract in comparison. Winners, I'm going to go Red Sox, White Sox also. You'd also throw the Dodgers in there for keeping guys that they could have lost. Justin Turner, Rich Hill, Jansen, yeah, definitely. And losers, of course, Nationals. They just missed out on basically everything. And Edwin Encarnacion, he expected to get a lot of money, and now nobody's really that interested for the amount that he's asking for. Lastly, we end with who are the on-paper favorites to win this upcoming World Series?
I think I still give it to the Cubs just because they've retained pretty much their entire team. They lose Chapman, but they go out and get Wade Davis, so it's really a wash there because Davis is obviously a great closer. And they're still young. They still have – they lost They lost Dexter Fowler, which is a fairly big loss, but I don't think it'll be too big considering they will get Schwarber back this year.
And they've got the depth to cover.
They do have the depth. They lost Soler too, but he really wasn't playing. So
yeah.
I think that they're almost completely intact. So I give it to the Cubs, but I also give the Red Sox a chance with the moves they've made. But we still have to see what Pablo Sandoval will be this year and how those big-name moves will work out, what Carson Smith will do when he comes back from injury. Still a lot of unknown with this team.
Back to the Cubs, though. I mean, there's also that trade that you mentioned, Soler for Wade Davis.
That was a great deal for them. Considering that at the deadline, the Royals turned down Lucas Giolito for Wade Davis straight up.
Pat, your thoughts?
I don't know what the heck is going on with the Royals. That's an even dumber deal than the Nationals.
It was bad.
Jorge Soler,
they could have gotten so much more.
It's pathetic. So that has nothing to do with who's going to win the World Series. That's
Still
going to be
important to know.
It's going to be the Red Sox.
Hopefully, I hope so.
Because I am telling you, Chris Sale is great. David Price is going to bounce back, and Porcello's pretty good. Erod.
Yeah, Cy Young, pretty good.
Yeah.
But I can't see him going out and being a star. I don't see
he was an ace last year.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. I
pitched
know
very
what you
well
mean.
at home.
He's not necessarily dominant. He's not Pedro Martinez.
Yes.
But he's still a very good pitcher, and he'd be number 1 or 2 on a lot of teams, and he's probably going to end up being the 3 by the end of the year for the Sox, which is pretty crazy.
It's great. The Sox, and that's why I'm going with the Sox, because their starting rotation is just wild.
Sox and Cubs are my favorite. The Dodgers, I think, are not on their level, but they're also a team that you might want to think about when it comes to the World Series. One last question. What do you think the odds are that a Red Sox player wins the Cy Young Award?
I think it's pretty good. I mean, Verlander had a big bounce back year last year. A lot of people thought he should have won. So maybe he could do that again. You got Kluber in Cleveland, maybe even Danny Duffy if he repeats what he did last year. Chris Archer if he bounces back. There's a lot of guys who could do it, but talent-wise, the Red Sox probably have the 2 best pitchers in the American League, and Rick Porcello.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive.
Pat?
If you look at just the big 3 on that team, there's about 75 starting pitchers in the AL, so that's 4% for the
Look
stars.
at that quick math.
Yeah.
Wow. That was impressive.
Oh God, yeah. So, and then I'd say you take the bottom 2 off all the other teams. They have the best top 3. One of them's going to be great, I think.
Hopefully.
You can't look at 3 Cy Young caliber pitchers and say one of them isn't going to have a great season.
Yeah. I think the chances are pretty good. Other players that could maybe sneak in there in the conversation would be Verlander. Even Masahiro Tanaka had a great year last year, but was overshadowed by the pretty poor play of his team. And so Kluber is also a name that you could think about. But the Red Sox, they've got 3 great starting pitchers that all have the potential to win the Cy Young Award. Well, that's all here today. I'm Colin Casey, once again joined by Matt Rolikis, Patrick Farhew. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week on Spartan Center.